what the fuck is that? How in the, what is that?
That's so crazy.
That's a spaceship or a fighter jet.
Some kind of a...
That's a submarine.
It looks like a yacht. It looks like one of them
it's a
oligarch
boat,
yachts
yeah.
that they keep getting
But that's
impounded.
That's a helicopter.
It looks like a helicopter to me. Egypt is the weirdest place on earth. It really is. Because
but that's why it needs to be.
Yeah.
What the hell's underneath it? The first temple I went in was what I'd seen on Ancient Aliens, where at the very top of the temple you have one of the most famous hieroglyphs, which has a spaceship, a helicopter, and a submarine up there, as clear as you can possibly imagine. And
show that. It looks just like a helicopter.
Yeah, that was the first
if
place
it's
I
not a helicopter, what a goddamn
What is
coincidence. It was this King's List, this Zepteki King's List that goes back 30,000 plus years.
Yes.
They all want to pretend that that's a myth, that all the other hieroglyphs are legitimately documenting the history of the region. But when it gets past the narrative, these 30,000-year-old kings, that place has probably been there for a long fucking time. But that's the other thing about the base of the pyramids. It's like you have to realize like there's a base there. Before they put the pyramids up, they put this insane base. And if what they're saying is accurate with these readings, that there's a structure that goes under the ground 2 kilometers, like
what is that?
If they can find that, then you have to throw everything out the window.
But aren't you with me? Like, why are we not interested in that?
Well, we are.
But why is modern archaeology not going, yeah, let's fucking figure this shit out?
Because modern archaeology forever has been saying that we have the answers, that we have the timeline. We know when Khufu built this. We know when Khafre built this. We know who did this. And they're not correct. It's not accurate. It's too weird. There's no way you have all the information. Also, where'd everybody go? Like, there's people living there, but it's clearly not the same civilization. So what happened to this insane civilization? If there wasn't a collapse of society at an immense level, if there wasn't some sort of a civilization-destroying event, then where did what happened?
How about this idea? We got a new pope.
Mm-hmm.
He's from the States.
From Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's open up the Library of the Vatican.
Oh, good luck. Good luck doing that.
Ever heard of the phantom time hypothesis? It's a theory that suggests we've been living a lie. The hypothesis is a historical conspiracy theory proposed by German historian Heribert Illig in 1991. According to Illig, we are not living in the 21st century, but rather in the 18th century. Sounds crazy, right? The theory suggests that the early Middle Ages, 614 through 911 AD, never happened and were fabricated by the Holy Roman Emperor Otto III, Pope Sylvester II, and possibly the Byzantine Emperor Constantine VII. They allegedly altered the existing calendar to place themselves at the special year of 1000 AD, creating a phantom time of 297 years that never existed. Illig's hypothesis is based on the scarcity of archaeological evidence that can be reliably dated from the years 614 through 911, the perceived inadequacies of radiometric and dendrochronological methods of dating this period, and the over-reliance of medieval historians on written sources. The phantom time hypothesis is widely dismissed by mainstream historians and scholars. It contradicts verifiable historical and archaeological data from around the world, and the Gregorian calendar we use today, introduced by Pope Gregory XIII in 1582, is widely accepted as accurate. So, what do you think? Are we living in a fabricated timeline?
Let's talk about the photographs, because pictures don't lie, people do. The earliest surviving photos of Manhattan, 1850s, 1860s, come from the New York Public Library and the Municipal Archives. And the problem hits you instantly. A city with barely 500,000 people looks like a European capital that took centuries to build. Look at Broadway in the 1860s. 3-story stone facades, decorative cornices, balconies, uniform blocks, symmetry everywhere. Look at the 1865 views of the Battery, parks landscaped, pathways perfect, harbor structures sturdy, not improvised, and Chinatown already built out before most of the official builders even arrived. All of this existed before industrial cranes, before trucks, before any real heavy machinery. It's weird. Very weird. These aren't growing town photos. These are inheritance photos. A city handed over, not built from scratch.
Let's talk about two ancient objects that survived the destruction of Herculaneum, and one of them blew my mind. Wait until you see it. Ever wonder what stories ancient artifacts can tell us? Unlike Pompeii, Herculaneum preserved wood, carbonized into charcoal by volcanic mud. It sealed the entire town in place. If you want a full breakdown on how that works, drop a comment. I've got more to share. But first, these wooden shutters. Yes, actual ancient wood, carbonized. We're used to seeing brick and marble in ruins, but here we can literally see the window as it looked almost 2,000 years ago. Let's zoom out. Look at this. The dark wood across the frame, so much of it survived. That's what makes Herculaneum feel so special, like you're walking through time. Now this next one, my jaw dropped when I saw it. A nightstand, doors, shelves, even a pull-out drawer. Why didn't I expect to see that? It's so familiar, like it belongs next to your own bed. I can picture it next to an ancient bed. I've got photos of those too if you want to see them. Or maybe it's sitting in the atrium next to a couch. There's so much left to share from these buried cities. Follow for more ancient finds and tell me which one surprised you most.
These are the craziest things that have been found in the ruins of Pompeii. In 2020, an ancient fast food restaurant was uncovered during an excavation. Traces of pork, fish, snails, and rodents were even found in some of the containers. The sorceress kit is a box of trinkets discovered in the garden of a Pompeii home. It's believed to have been used as a toolkit by an ancient fortune teller. A loaf of bread made just before the eruption of Mount Vesuvius was discovered in 2018. It even still has a Roman bread stamp on it, which bakeries were required to do to prevent fraud. Here's a 2,000-year-old beware of dog mosaic that was discovered in front of the home of a Roman poet. This beautifully intact mosaic was discovered during an excavation just last year. A gold snake bracelet was found on the arm of a woman who was killed during the eruption. On the inside, there's an inscription that reads, "From a master to his slave girl." In 2013, archaeologists uncovered the remains of a 30-year-old man who appears to have survived the initial eruption, only to be killed when he was struck by a large slab of stone.
Right, I have to talk about this video we come across, and it's to do with my dad. This is the closest piece of footage I've ever seen, or my dad has ever seen, that is close to what he witnessed in the 1970s as a little child at school, okay? And it's kind of emotional on my behalf, witnessing this and seeing his reaction to it, because what we're seeing here is exactly near enough to what he saw and 30 other people in a playground saw alongside them. This object slowly floating above a tree or a cluster of trees during his school period, and it was changing all sorts of different colours. This one isn't changing colours so much, but the ones he saw, it was almost like energy kind of morphing, and it slowly floated silently over the trees and then disappeared off. And from this point in his life, it triggered a massive events that he's witnessed even up until today, whether that would be UFO sightings, visitations, things that we moved to Warminster and witnessed over there. And I feel like this point that my dad experienced, and his brother as well, and I think my granddad, it just triggered a whole host of change for the rest of their life. I mean, this piece of footage was shot in Germany in 1993. And again, it's just sometimes when people witness such a profound event, like my dad did when he was younger, 30 people saw it, everyone was kind of gobsmacked, was watching this thing, it disappeared, and then no one ever spoke of it ever again. And it's one thing that's already stuck into my dad's head. And again, it's just something that's affected him for the rest of his life, and even it's kind of bled through into his children, my mum, other family members, and even neighbours of the sorts as well. Like, it's always those pinnacle events that some people witness, even on a generational level, where it can trigger a lot of stuff later down the line for others as well. But I don't know, I just thought I had to share this. It's absolutely incredible. and a beautiful piece of footage as well. And it just, yeah, hits me in the feels, man. Because some of the stuff I've witnessed as well is just... This is why I do this. I'm trying to find answers for myself and my family, and some of the stuff that we come across is definitely answering some of those questions. So, yeah, there you go, guys. Hope you enjoy it.
Göbekli Tepe, brother, if there is such a thing as an ancient conspiracy theory, it's this.
Göbekli Tepe turned out to be what you think it might have been. Where are the metal tools? Where are the writing, the examples of writing?
Scientists in Turkey pried open a sealed chamber beneath Göbekli Tepe, the hill that shouldn't exist.
What he discovered was mind-blowing. After discovering the first T-shaped pillar buried at the site, he soon found more of these massive structures.
And the room exhaled air so cold it burned and so metallic it tasted wrong.
This incredible feat of architecture is not the most revolutionary thing about this place.
Instruments glitched. Compasses stuttered. And what they discovered sealed inside wasn't meant to be seen.
Because we'd never before known or imagined even that simple hunter-gatherers could produce such spectacular monumental structures.
The hill that shouldn't exist. When a team of scientists in southeastern Turkey broke through a sealed vault beneath Göbekli Tepe, they expected another empty chamber filled with rubble and clay. Instead, they uncovered something that made them pause and step back in silence.
It wasn't until German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt visited the site and began digging. They realized what was really at the site.
The team quickly realized this was not a tomb or a shrine. It was something far older. To understand what they had just uncovered, we have to return to where the mystery began. A hill that was never meant to exist. In the early 1990s, a German archaeologist named Klaus Schmidt arrived in southeastern Turkey to re-examine a quiet hill locals called Göbekli Tepe, meaning Potbelly Hill. From a distance, it looked ordinary. The surface was rough and dry, scattered with small limestone blocks, weeds, and a few pieces of pottery. Most researchers had long dismissed it as unimportant. Decades before, a team from the University of Chicago had inspected it briefly and concluded that it was a medieval burial site. They took a few notes, labeled the area, and never returned. Schmidt saw what others had missed. To most people, the broken stones of Göbekli Tepe looked like the remains of old graves. To him, their shapes felt too deliberate. Some pieces had smooth edges and flat surfaces that did not belong to natural rock. He suspected they were fragments of larger structures buried under centuries of soil. Instead of moving on, he decided to dig deeper. With a small team, Schmidt began clearing the surface carefully. Within a few days, they uncovered the top of a huge pillar made of limestone. As the excavation continued, more of the pillar appeared, revealing its true size, over 5 meters tall. Around it were others arranged in a perfect circle. Each one was carved with detailed figures of animals such as foxes, vultures, snakes, wild boars, and strange symbols whose meanings were unknown. The carvings were so precise that even experienced workers paused to stare. It was clear that whoever made them had great skill and purpose. Years after Schmidt's death, a new team of scientists and archaeologists resumed the survey. using advanced equipment to study the site he first uncovered. Their work built on his original discoveries and pushed the research even deeper, continuing the mystery he had left behind. The discovery raised a serious mystery. To find out how old the site truly was, the team collected samples of charcoal, bone, and other organic remains from around the pillars. These were sent to laboratories for radiocarbon dating, which measures how long it has been since living material last absorbed carbon from the air. When the results arrived, the entire camp fell silent. The samples dated to around 9,600 BCE, more than 11,000 years ago, placing Göbekli Tepe thousands of years before Stonehenge and the Great Pyramid of Giza. That single finding changed archaeology forever. According to everything historians had believed, humans at that time were still nomadic hunters. They were not supposed to build anything permanent, let alone carve and move stones weighing over 50 tons. Yet the evidence stood before them, an organized community capable of extraordinary skill. News of the discovery spread quickly, and Göbekli Tepe was soon called the world's oldest known temple. But the deeper the new team studied, the more the site defied logic. The tools, the artwork, and the precision of the design did not match anything known from that era. Nothing in history explained where such knowledge came from. Some researchers suggested the dating might be flawed, while others believed the builders could have inherited their knowledge from an even older culture that predated written history. As debates filled lecture halls and conferences, one question began to dominate every discussion. If hunter-gatherers could not have built Göbekli Tepe, then who did? That question would soon lead scientists down a path that blurred the line between history and myth, and forced them to reconsider everything they thought they knew about the dawn of civilization. The builders who shouldn't exist. Myths, theories, and shock.
¿Qué es?
No, no sé. Está bajando.
Oye, ¿ves? ¿Lo oye?
No.